I will talk about biodiversity and sustainability in rural areas. This is the country where I live, the Gulf Flower area. Looks very nice, and we cultivate, of course, a lot of these flowers which are exported all over the world. I will talk today about two topics: nature conservation in reserves and also nature conservation on farmlands. When I talk about nature conservation, it started more or less at the end of the 19th century in the US, in Europe, and that has something to do with a strong increase in the human population. We see an extremely strong development in agriculture due to artificial fertilizer, so yields are boosting, and we see also an over-exploitation of nature to feed and fuel the cities. We have industry, we need fuel, and we need also food. That's okay, for sure. Let's look what's happening in a country like the Netherlands. The last beaver was killed, the last natural predators, large predators, the wolf was killed around 1800 in our country, and the last natural forest was cut a couple of years later. There was no resistance at all at that time. We thought we are doing development of our country. But almost, or only, I have to say, 30 years later, when we cut the last natural forest, when the last natural predator was gone in our country, and the last big predator, the wolf, we started with nature conservation, I have to admit. So that was a kind of typical situation. Not only in the Netherlands, but in a lot of European countries, I have to admit. Yes. And this is the first nature reserve. You see a beautiful picture on the right hand, for the artist's impression. But it is a kind of lake, well, a swampy area, I have to say, which we saved more or less around 1900 in our country. You see it on the map. It's this area, a lot of water, and if you do nothing, it will turn into a forest. And that immediately was the problem, because if you have caught a nature reserve, you have saved it, what shall we do then? What should be the management in these kind of areas? And there was a long discussion in our country, and not only in our country, but I think in many countries in Europe. You can do two things: doing nothing, and then the swamp area will turn into a forest, and that was not the reason why we thought, okay, let's keep it what it is. So the other option is a kind of status quo management. So on the one hand, you have doing nothing, natural processes. That was the favorite option by the biologists. That is natural succession, as we call it in biology. So development or nature conservation is to say, okay, like try to keep it as it is. And that discussion was, well, in our country and in many countries in Europe, and I think all over the world, is the big discussion in nature conservation. In our country, we choose the option for a long period we should manage. Dutch guys are very active, shaping the land, making the landscape, reclaiming land for the so we start to do action, not sitting down and see what's happening, no action. So that was the major influence, I think, up to now. One should manage. But times change, and since I think the 1970 more or less, you see that environmental issues are coming into the scene of nature conservation. And also ecology is re-entering the debate concerning nature conservation. We need a clean environment. At that time we had huge problems with pollution, nutrients, pesticides in our countries. Water quality, air quality was not as it should be. And then you see all kinds of ideas from the scientific community are entering nature conservation. We need large areas. We learn from the island theory, and we learn from native population theory that population should be connected. And and that we need really large areas to safeguard biodiversity. Science-based nature conservation was born at that time. We can design and plan, and also the Society of Conservation Biology was established in the US and is now a major society when it comes to nature conservation. All kinds of scientific top journals were established at that time. So we talk about self-regulation of ecosystems, and then we need large herbivores, and we need large predators. Should we reintroduce the wolf again in a country like the Netherlands, which has a very dense population? You can imagine that there are difficult choices to make, but we are running in that direction. So we talk nowadays about nature development, new wilderness, rewilding, and we try to start, and we really start also, in creating a kind of ecological network in the Netherlands and also in the EU, Natura 2000. And this is one of the most visited movies nowadays, Dutch movies, in the Netherlands, which is called The New Wilderness, large nature in a small country. But to be honest, this nature area is only 50 years old, reclaimed land from the sea. And now we are very proud, we are talking about the Dutch Serengeti. So that's the area of Africa. So that's nature conservation. The Netherlands, as you saw it never before. And the public in the Netherlands, I think 2 million people saw this movie in the cinema. And this is what biologists did. They make a kind of map of the country, and you see all kinds of colors and also a kind of connection. So this is where nature should be connected, planning, developed from the map, as we have it in our mindset. And this is the European map, Natura 2000. And I quote here the EU, 80% of the EU land area is covered by, as they call it, the largest coordinated network in protected areas in the world. So this is nature conservation, and it is today the dominant approach in the EU. And let's be honest, it is successful. You can do something, and you have good results when it comes to nature conservation. When we start, the world first nature reserve have 30 members, and now you see it's almost 1 million in a country like the Netherlands. 1 million people supporting this kind of activities. And the environment is much cleaner. We have less problems with nutrients, pesticides, heavy metals. The area of nature reserves is growing in the Netherlands. In the past, of course, it was much higher, but we went a deep valley, and now we are back on track again, I would say. The areas are more connected. Things like ecoducts, so here you have the highway, and we built not for people or for cars, but for biodiversity. You make this kind of connections. So that's really good practice now in the Netherlands. Most important, we have a higher species richness in the country. And we stop the species loss of many groups. And then I talk about mammals, birds, butterflies, and so on. This is the optimistic part of my talk. Because we have still a huge problem in our country. And that's the biodiversity and agricultural areas. And that's my second topic of my presentation. Now we are talking about nature conservation on farmland. And this is our national bird, the black-tailed godwit. We are very proud. It lives almost exclusively in agricultural areas, meadows. But why should we take care for nature conservation on farmland? Because we have the reserves. Well, first of all, there is a very direct impact of the agricultural biodiversity. Many species depend on the agricultural land because they spend almost all their life on the agricultural land. Blackbirds, geese, meadowbirds, and so on. But there are also indirect impacts of the agricultural land on biodiversity, and especially on biodiversity in nature. Due to this visible aspect of connectivity, if we have isolated nature reserves, although they are more or less connected, we still have the huge bare grounds of the agricultural land between, and also we have chemical impacts, the emission of pollutants, nutrients, and so on. And there's more. We need agricultural land also for ecosystem service, for the production. We need the beasts, etc. So that we should also look at biodiversity on agricultural land. Regulation, water quality, and also human health. The most important thing is, I think, the way we use our agricultural landscape is an important driver for the changes of biodiversity in and outside the area. If we in the Netherlands change our agricultural practices, we need to import, for example, a lot of stuff from Brazil. If we have a very intensive, we import the natural product. We need feed for feeding. So agriculture is steering and driving the land use, and global biodiversity. So let's have a closer look to agriculture and biodiversity. In many countries in Europe, agriculture is more or less covering 60% of the land, even in a densely populated country like the Netherlands. So we are thinking about agriculture is creating the conditions for biodiversity. And it's not going well with biodiversity. That's, I think, clear from this picture. You see here, these are the population of farming birds across Europe, and you see nothing is going well, to be honest. It's all going down in every country, in the Netherlands, in Europe, sorry. And how is that possible? Well, it's just an easy graph which I made here. All the dots are all European countries. Here you have, for example, the cereal yield, so 50 grams per hectare. So that's a measure of how intense land is used. And we have here the number of the breeding birds. And I have here a four-pointing bird which lives more or less exclusively in cereal fields. So you see Central European countries or East European countries, here we go into Western Europe, and here you have the Netherlands. 2 points in time. So this is so here we are now. So you see the higher production, the less breeding birds of the field. This is done by all the PhD students in our university, and I think it's interesting to build the if we boost production, let's say in Central European countries, you can predict what will happen with species like this. So there's a sense of urgency to do what we can do with these kinds of questions. Also, there was a wonderful publication by this guy, which is taking into account much more aspects of biodiversity in the whole of Europe, but the outcome is more or less the same. Farming birds, you get more or less these plants, these are predatory beetles and aphids, so we don't need them, but that's the only group who is going on. If you intensify the land use, we get more pests. So crystal clear from my perspective. Solutions, however, are not so easy. This is another PhD study which I showed. You see here, this is just current agriculture, and we have here also this is the organic agriculture, this is current agriculture, and you see here this is another meadow bird, and you see the number of territories. So in conventional agriculture you see less birds. If the student is going to the field, you see less birds compared to organic farming. But when we look as scientists to things like nest success, so how many of the eggs or young birds survive, you get a total different perspective. Here you have the organic farms, and here you have the conventional farms. The reason is quite easy. In the conventional farms, we use herbicides. So there, the weeds are removed by chemical treatments. In the organic farms, we use mechanical weed control 8 times during the growing season. This bird is a ground breeder, so you can imagine all the nests in the organic farms are destroyed, although we don't use pesticides. So we try to do our best to enhance biodiversity, but it is more complex than we thought. This is also an interesting thing. If you would like to promote biodiversity, in this case botanical management of ditch banks, here you have the, let's say, the nature-friendly management, and here you have the normal situation. You see, it makes only sense in this area, and that is on a short distance of a nature reserve. Here you have a kind of nature reserve, as we saw also, it's more or less a lookalike of the first nature reserve. And you see, if we do a kind of biodiversity-friendly management, it makes only sense if you are in a neighborhood of a nature reserve. Well, this kind of scientific, knowledge we really need to build a stronger nature conservation, and nature conservation which is science-based. The challenge for now is, of course, to produce more food, because we need that on the world, but on the other hand, to safeguard biodiversity. And that's not an easy question. Biodiversity on farms is really a bottleneck. It's nature conservation in an economic domain. There are people, the land is owned by the farmers. It's not so easy as nature conservation in reserves. What did we do in the Netherlands? We started more or less, it's hard to see, but let's say 40 years ago, with nature conservation on farms. And we tried to protect this beautiful species, the black-tailed godwit, our national birds. We focused on the conservation of specific species. So let's try to keep them in the landscape in a dynamic and changing agricultural landscape. We call them even meadow birds, edible birds. We started with an approach which is a lookalike of the first approach in a nature reserve. So try to keep it like it is. Okay, and what we have to do is only to improve the reproduction of that bird, because that was the bottleneck. The bird is living in the Netherlands, but it is also going to Africa, but that was not the problem. The problem is there were too little, the number of birds, young birds in the Netherlands is too low, so we need to improve the reproduction. So what problem? We start with nest protection, and that's relevant. We just put here, you have a cow in the meadow, here an iron frame above the nest, so the cow will not destroy the nest. In such an easy way, we start with the nature conservation on farm. It is of course relevant, and it works, but then you get the young birds, and the young birds, if you then mow the meadow, then we have problems again. Thus what we learn over time, of course, you need to include the whole life cycle of the birds. You need to control the water resource, because they need shelter, they need also food, they consume a lot of insects, about 10,000 insects a day. So you need to have a lot of insects. So therefore we create a kind of chick land, so young bird land. Okay, we started with a mosaic management, all conditioned in time and space on the map here. A lot of scientists, so all kinds of different management throughout the area, a lot of farmers involved to keep it more or less, to make the ideal situation for the birds. We even make a kind of computer model. Here there are all the nests, and then you see, you can calculate how far can the young bird walk, how many insects need to consume. Okay, what do we need when it comes to management? So a lot of researchers are involved. But the outcome is quite problematic. I think this kind of approach is probably not enough to safeguard the population. We see still no recovery of these kinds of birds in our land. And what you do, if you have a lot of management, then it gets more expensive. over time. Because you need water control, you need profit farms, you need extra management, oh, you need this, you need that. And then the area which is protected will slow down. So in the end, with this approach, and it costs a lot of money, to be honest, then the area is reducing over time. And let's be honest, the way we look to biodiversity on agricultural land is that the way forward. If you focus on one species or a couple of species, how about the others? And biodiversity is changing. Yeah, it's not very well visible, but this is in my backyard. I live in the city, and then we have these kind of parrots nowadays from the tropical area from India, and they are now sitting in my garden in the city of Leiden. So biodiversity is changing. We have climate change. So, and we try to keep biodiversity as it is. And agriculture is also dynamic. How far should we go? And nowadays, we are talking in our country, we need to control also predators, because then we have raised our meadow birds, but then foxes come in, and he has he needs the meadow birds to survive. So then we're really in a lot of difficulties. And it is what I call a kind of end of the pipe approach. Consequences, economic, increasing costs, and I think we end up in only certain areas. You see it on the map over here. So, what I would like to go for is another approach. From species to biodiversity, inclusive farming. And because the decrease of biodiversity is all over Europe, we need to take action on all farms. We need to improve the base of biodiversity on all our farms. What can we do? First of all, we need more space for biodiversity, physical space, so the area which is not used for farming should be increased. The non-productive land, we call it the landscape elements, the hedgerows, the ditches, and so on. And the other thing, we have to improve our natural processes on the farm itself, especially on the productive land. More room for nature on the farm. The current situation in the Netherlands is that on the farm only 3% of the farm is non-productive, and most of the area is a ditch, so you cannot grow the crop in the ditch for sure. So that's really a very small proportion of the land, and that's not enough for food and shelter for a lot of species. Can it be 5, 7, or 10%? I don't know the answer. Scientists have to come up with the solution. How much of this area do we need to safeguard biodiversity? But can we develop in an area like this? So on every field margins and hedgerows. I think that's the way forward. And then it will benefit a wide range of species, and also it benefits the connectivity between the nature reserves. And this is a very recent study. This is just published for the whole of the Netherlands. If you compare areas with 3% of landscape elements and 7% of landscape elements, you see for butterflies and birds, you see totally different figures. This is 52% of all the butterfly species in the Netherlands is living in this area. And if you go from 3 to 7%, it's 64. That's the birds we have. These kind of things. So this gives us at least the clue if you can improve, let's say, the area of natural elements on the farm, that biodiversity will be more safe than before. So only a complex landscape biodiversity can flourish. For example, how it looks like, you can create this kind of flower strips, which is not only good for biodiversity, but also for pest control, and also nice for the people who live around the fields. Another picture. This is how it looks like in practice. Create very nice landscape, I think, together, which we have lost all over Europe. The second thing I'm pleading for are the natural processes on the field itself. And there we should go for a clean soil, clean water, a good manure, that we get good soil quality for sure. And then we get that rich soil, microorganisms, earthworms, and below ground is what we learned from ecology, is also above ground. So if we create the small stuff in the soil, we get also biodiversity on the soil. It's the base of the food web. And which species benefit, I don't know, and I don't care. Sometimes it's a bird, sometimes it's a mammal, and I hope, of course, it's a national bird, but let's be surprised what nature has to offer. And then I think we are in the area of nature development. More or less the same what we discover in our management, the nature reserves. And then we need innovation for our agricultural production system, sustainable farming, low tillage, soil organic land. Things we talk all over the world, but not in Europe, to be honest, where we have a high production grounds. The cows in the Netherlands are not so much in the field anymore. Of course, I show them, but more or less. Well, more and more over time, they are in the buildings. So then we bring the grass to the building to make it easy. And one of the effects is that the cow, when it's not living in the field, you get also no cow dung. And the cow dung in the field is the essential ecology spot where insects reproduce. And these insects were eaten by the birds which I showed you before. So if we remove the cow from the field and place it in the building, then we get no cow dung in the fields, and in the end, no meadow birds in our fields. So let's try to change farming towards an ecology-intensive agriculture. It benefits a lot, not only for biodiversity, as I mentioned, but also, well, it's also good for the farmer. We get sustainable agriculture. Also, you get more predators. It's good for the environment, less emissions from the fields to the surrounding water, the air quality, the emission to cities, and also it's good for people, nicer, and what I call vitamin green for people. And it's good for the local economy. If you have a nice environment, it stimulates companies to settle down in the area. So, concluding, what's needed for the sustainable future of biodiversity in farmland? Well, a focus on conservation of a specific species is not enough. It's an end of life. We should move from the species approach to nature development. And we start with agriculture. If you can change agriculture, biodiversity will flourish. So we need to improve the base biodiversity at the landscape scale at all farms. The non-productive area, more space, margins, etc., and the productive area, the natural growth. Then we talk about specific management for specific species. Is this a natural science problem? Well, it is, but that's not enough for you. We need also social sciences on board, because it's much more than conservation policy and money. It is also about, well, our relation with farmers. And then we are talking to the human perspectives of nature conservation. Development of sustainable agriculture, it can be done by the government, but it can also be done, of course, by companies in the agricultural production chain, the Unilevers, etc., etc. They are the important players on the world. Why are they not asking for 5 or 7% natural landscape elements on the farm? And finally, we have to strengthen our sustainable commitment of farms. This is more or less it. Looking to the future, what are we going to investigate at Leiden University? Then we are talking about the Institute of Environmental Sciences and the field of conservation biology. I think we have three questions which we will study in the near future. The link between the natural, the non-agricultural land and biodiversity and the species living in that. That's a very interesting question, not only for the Netherlands, Europe, but also for Indonesia, I can think. That correlation between the areas, the natural areas and the number of species in the fields also in Indonesia. I've never seen the graph, so we should produce it. The other thing is sustainable agriculture and forestry. There are a lot of all kinds of logos which are telling me that agriculture or forestry is sustainable. But I'm only aware of a couple of PhDs in the Netherlands and also in Indonesia. He's in the room, he's on the screen here with Hans. When it comes to sustainable forestry or sustainable agriculture, I've never seen real data from Indonesia, maybe too sharp, but provocative, telling me what to do and how we get more biodiversity in the fields. And the last study we think we will study is the impact of pesticides. And we will create a kind of living lab, so artificial ditches, which can be controlled and where we can stimulate, then we study the effects of nutrients and pesticides. And I can imagine that also for Indonesia there's an opportunity. It's just easy, you create some ponds and then you can do some real field work nearby biodiversity in controlled conditions. If you would like to know more, I'm still available for 2 days. Thank you very much.
Session, I would like to invite Dr. Novia Andayani as a moderator for the discussion session.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests, esteemed college, dear friends, students. Welcome, Prof. Snoo. It's such an honor to have you back. You haven't been with us, because welcome back, as you have said to our dear colleagues from the Leiden University. It's such a pleasure to have you with us, and what enlightenment presentations, which we can see so many similarities, parallel stories that we have shared with us this morning. Sustainable agriculture, as we know that agriculture, of course, is one of the key drivers for our deforestations here in Indonesia. Given that the global population is predicted to reach around 9 billion people by 2050. I think we will have more people to feed, and then means that there will be more land to be cleared for agriculture. So, with what we have heard this morning, there are opportunities to change the game from seeing agriculture as a threat to agriculture as a challenge and opportunities. And then I'm sure we should learn a lot from maybe discussion and questions from guests this morning, and also from the participants of this workshop this morning. We have a quite diverse participants, I may say. Mostly maybe some from biology, but the others mostly also from other field of sciences. But before we continue our this morning's plenary sessions with questions and answers, maybe I need to introduce a little bit more about Professor de Snoo, because it has not been done when you took the stage this morning. So Professor Geert de Snoo, I hope you pronounce your names correctly, because it's such a difficult name for Indonesians to pronounce. So I just stick with Professor de Snoo. Currently is serving as the faculty, the Dean of Faculty of Science, University of Leiden. Out of his busy schedule, he still managed to supervise 10 PhD students, and up to now he has written around 180 scientific papers and policy papers as well. So it's such a privilege to have you with us this morning. With that, I think without further ado, I think we have around 20 minutes for question and answers, and I will give the time for the participants to use the opportunity, to use the opportunity to engage closely to Professor De Snoo and learn more from him. You can stand with me here, so that we can face the crowd together. Payata, maybe you should start with him first, so you can stimulate the discussions.
Thank you, Professor Snow. Your presentation is quite opening eyes for us, because sustainable agriculture is a good term, but it's really hard to describe, because it's involved of many layers of ecology, management, others. Scientifically maybe easy, but managementally and many other things is very difficult. An example of you mentioned about the oil palm in Indonesia. Buyani mentioned about this, and it is very difficult because most of these agriculture plants are outside of the endemic areas, or what's not really endemic plants. So it should be domesticated and sometimes exotic plants. How do you see this work on the space where ecology want to be nature, especially because this is man-made agriculture, right? Man-made landscape. So that one. The second one is really important that when you are creating some ecological system with the agriculture, means that some of the biodiversity we lost, as you mentioned about that. How do we recover some of the big animals? Small animal, yes, you can do like you survive or small insects, bird, and others. The big animal like tigers and wolf, we mentioned about that, was really going to be very difficult for us. And that was how do we balance this between the needs of agriculture. We had mentioned about we need to feed 9 billion people, where the land is. How do you balance that between the development and also conservation? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, give it back to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Difficult questions about sustainable agriculture, because also in the scientific scenery it's not easy. What are we talking about? But I think let's start from an ecology perspective. If we talk about sustainability of the oil palm, for example, I think you should really make clear, if it comes to biodiversity, that we do it on a quantitative basis. That we can see, okay, how much of the area, let's say the sustainable oil palm area, how much of the area is non-oil palm, so natural, and what's the biodiversity there? And then you're running into all kinds of difficulties, because if you look to one plantation, that's telling you nothing, because it's in a landscape perspective. So there we need good scientists from, for example, this university, how to measure and can you distinguish between what is in the plantation and what's due to the landscape. Well, there are a couple of ways to distinguish that, the diversity of different levels, from local, up to the region or national. I think that's one way of looking to it. And that's only the question about the science. If it comes to biodiversity, what are we talking about? The number of species or the quantity or whatever, and what species? Well, species richness, I think, is by far the most easy to deal with, not easy to measure, but it's clear what it is. And that's only in the natural science domain. And when it comes to communicating in the agricultural production chain or to consumers, then we are really into difficulties. To be honest, the Dutch ministry just mentioned on the news last week there are too many logos which is sustainable food. I think we have 17 logos which are indicating this food is good for biodiversity, sustainability or whatever. They will reduce that now to 11. Still too much, of course, but you can see we are running, I think we have the same difficulties. So what is it in scientific, for the scientific audience and for the more general public and between the trading partners in the chain. But I think we need good scientists and then we can make some progress over here. Your second question is related to the small and the larger animals, if I understand it correctly. I think with the agricultural lands, there you have to start with the small stuff. I think, at least in our country, if we would like to have, let's say, large herbivores in agricultural fields, and they are not from the farmer, but that's not an option. That's not an option. But we can, I think, in the agricultural landscape, you can have the small stuff. And if the small stuff is there, sometimes you get some birds or some mammals, and which are innocent or do hardly any damage to the crop, and that's okay. But you cannot combine, of course, wolves or the natural, the big herbivores which live in the nature reserve. We should not go for that in the agricultural landscape. It's farmland. It's owned by farmers, and that's clear. Is that more or less an answer to your question?
More or less.
More or less. Okay, more or less.
Then we can continue outside. So, but I kind of agree with you here that when we are talking about sustainability, mostly we are referring to the changing atmosphere and social science. But the contributions of science as ours, for biology, geography, maths, or even pharmacies, into this concept, I think is still very limited. Take for one example, in Indonesia, all these concession holders or concession owners of palm acacia, they are by the law, they need to put aside about 10% of their land as conservation area, or what we call it high conservation value forest. But again, the numbers of 10%, what it means for conserving biodiversity conservation is still not very clear. And that's one example, how science, to my personal opinion, has not been contributing at the level that we're supposed to be. And this is something that we need to look into when we're developing our collaborations between these two faculties. With that, I would like to invite other questions from the audience. How, for example, the other fields of science outside biology, I think biology should be quite clear, although you haven't seen it either here at least, to contribute to the idea of sustainability in general, or in particular, sustainable agriculture sustainability. How?
Thank you. Geert, I have the question. Of course, the biodiversity in the Netherlands is much smaller than here in Indonesia, especially, where we have biodiversity hotspots and so on. Also, in the agricultural farmlands, of course, the biodiversity is different and more complex here than in the Netherlands. How do you think, you already gave us an example, we will not tigers or elephants here, probably, hopefully not in the family, but to which to which size, or to if you're looking as a scientist, how many species or which type of species you really wanted to see, because I think that is really important, even if you can go only to the gills of species, not really to species level, but I mean, I think that is a big difference. And how would you approach that difference in the Netherlands?
Okay, that's it. How many species you need in the agricultural lands? I have no clue, to be honest. That's a very difficult question. So the number of species, nobody can answer that. I think in Indonesia the first priority is the biodiversity hotspot conservation. I think we agree on that. We all agree on that. We are really, if you look to the world map of biodiversity, then Indonesia is really the famous nature publication, I think, showing that the hotspots of biodiversity are in Indonesia. They are in your hands. So that's the first thing to do. In the agricultural land, I think if you talk about how many species should be there, then we are framing it much too much. You should talk about are the earthworms in the soil. Yeah, a strange question maybe, but in the Netherlands, in some occasions, we almost lost them because the land use is so very intense. If you look to the whole world, the Netherlands is number 2 when it comes to agricultural production. First we have the USA, and then we have a small country like the Netherlands. So you can imagine that the yields are really amazing high, to be honest. So that there is hardly any biodiversity left in some areas, to put it that way. So I think that the situation here is totally different.
This is, I find it's quite intriguing and very interesting questions. Maybe not to refer to the number of species, because yes, I agree, it's very difficult to define, but at least to determine, what kinds of yields, the level of yields within the ecosystems, within the natural systems that one farmland should have, which defines actually the health of the landscapes in general. That will, to me, quite interesting, and is something that can lead to the other qualities from, for example, from geography, or from maybe geography. I think when you're talking about the mosaic system of the landscapes. But I'm not monopolizing you as a speaker here, but if we can take this subject as one of the topic when we are meeting our prospective students, because this is quite important. Yeah, we still have another 10 minutes. I'm not going to make a summary or wrap up of this interesting presentation. Yes, Yusuf.
Thank you very much. I noticed that you mentioned hedgerows as a possible measure. Hedgerows are a common, ubiquitous part of the English countryside. They're also productive in their own right, and I think they've been there for centuries. Does that mean that the English are natural conservers, or is there another reason for having hedgerows? And I guess, I think that they're probably quite effective, but I imagine they're quite expensive to build. Perhaps you could comment on that.
For sure. I think that the landscape in the UK looks totally different, with a lot of hedgerows, and biodiversity is much higher in that areas compared to areas where there are no hedgerows. So that, I think, is the first good news, that the hedgerows, if the hedgerows are there, and of course they have a small production function as well, especially in the past, of course, biodiversity is higher. So we learn a lot from the UK, to be honest. So yes, they are important, And why they are there, it has something to do with the way you organize agriculture and the way we did it in our country, and that's totally different. But we would like to go in that direction. Maybe not hedgerows, but maybe more ditches. Is that more or less an answer? No, and a hedgerow that are shrubs. So in lines that they are all around the agricultural fields. And I think that's one of the reasons they still have the partridge, for example. So a beautiful bird, which we lost in our country more or less, due to the removal of the hedgerows.
So it can serve as a corridors in
Sure.
and populations
Yes.
landscape system.
Yes.